Welcome to the Online Success Journey Podcast, your opportunity to discover and learn from entrepreneurs like yourself. This is not your typical podcast, but a place where you can get the real story and find out how real people encounter speed bumps and detours, but journey through to find success. Now here's your host for the Online Success Journey Podcast, Patience.
Hello everyone and welcome to Online Success Journey. This is episode 76. Are you ready to join the clan? Today we have Lorraine Pirihi, an author, entrepreneur and a speaker. Hello Lorraine.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. I know the clan is anxious to hear your story, so let's get started with the basics. Can you tell my clan a little bit about your background, about what you did before you started your online business? Take us right up to the last job or business you are online.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah, well, basically, the way it all started out, I had been in business for about 13 years. I had another business called The Productivity Queen. And then at the age of 53, I got tired, worn out, and over it. So I'd been in business for 13 years, and I had some online product as well as used to do a lot of coaching and mentoring with small business owners, helping them to be much more productive, and that meant it translated to being more profitable. So anyway, what happened at the age of 53, I got tired, worn out, and over it. I felt just generally burnt out by not just business but life in general. And for a while there, I was sort of looking for different things. I needed to move away from business because I'd lost my passion and my purpose. So at the time, I wished there was someone around like me who understood what it was like to feel like that in business, but also to help me get out of that rut that I was in. And what I ended up doing was leaving my business, and I ended up doing a few other things, including back into employment again while I tried to find myself. And then eventually I couldn't stand that and ended up going back into business with Relaunch Your Life. So basically what I do, I help establish business owners over the age of 50 who they too are often tired, worn out and over it, help them get back on track. And a lot of them now are transitioning. They're looking at winding back. They want to be more productive, but they don't want to be working as long. And quite a few now are looking to reinvent themselves or actually transition out of the business and to have more time to enjoy life.
Wow.
So I help them do that. So it's quite, it's a lot of stuff.
So why do you do what you do? Because you went back in employment, then back into business. So why do you do what you do?
Yeah, I do it because I'm really passionate. I've got a background in personal development as well, and I'm really passionate about helping people do life better. And there are many people out there, and particularly business owners, they struggle with the basics every day in business. Just be getting things done and taking action on the right things that are going to help them. But many get burnt out because they're not very productive. They don't know how to manage their time effectively. They don't even know what their purpose is half the time. They just keep busy but don't get very far. And I'm just really passionate about helping those sorts of people, particularly in my own age group, over 50s, because you're at a stage in your life that it's a big part of your life. There's some big transitions going on for you, and you need guidance and help. It's just too overwhelming, and if you're not organised, it's hard to even do anything. You just get stuck in a rut. And a lot of business owners, particularly over the age of 50, and particularly the guys, many are depressed and they don't know what to do. And I'm really passionate about showing them how easy it is to get back on track again.
Wow. Okay. What are some of the challenges baby boomers have in a business?
Well, I suppose like any business owner, just the day-to-day running of the business, and quite often they're working long hours. But I think the biggest challenge for many baby boomer business owners, and I'm talking about the ones that are established here in particular, they get to a point, quite often, not always, but that for a majority of them, they get to a point where they feel burnt out. And one of the things is they deny the feeling that they're burnt out, and they just keep turning up and keep doing the same thing, but nothing changes. So one of the biggest challenges is, I think, for having been there and done that, they can't see options, and they're not truthful with themselves. They just keep doing the same thing all the time. When you get to that age, you're not in your 30s or 40s anymore, when you can make mistakes and catch up. When you sort of get 50 and beyond, you have to be very careful about what you do, because if you make any big mistakes, particularly even in your business, if you end up losing, like particularly financially, or there's too much pressure and stress, you may never be able to recover from that.
Okay, you've been in a business for a long time now. You've been in business for over 13 years. I'm back in employment, now I'm back in business. Let's put man aside. How did you know you were successful? To me, success is different for everyone. It's when you're reaching your goals, when you're feeling satisfied each day, obviously when you've got the income coming in as well. And I think success is measured in a lot of different ways. But for me, it's a good question. How do you know when you're successful? Is a very big word. There are times you feel successful, and there are times you feel like a failure, depending on what's going on in your business and life at that particular time. Your business and life in general can be like a roller coaster, and it's just how you handle it that makes a difference. Can anyone be an entrepreneur, or are some people more cut out for it than others, since you are catering for over 50 years of age?
Yeah. Can anyone be? No, I don't think so. Because when you've got running your own business, you've got to be disciplined. You've got to be able to get things done. There's no one to tell you what to do. I see a lot of people, whether they're over 50 or even under 50, when they go, many people go into business thinking, just because they're good at something, they'll be able to do the same thing, make good money and do it themselves. If they could do it for someone else, they can do it for themselves. But many people don't have the resilience or the discipline to make business work, because there's a lot of skills you need to have when you're in business. And if you haven't got them, you have to learn them or find people who have got them and get them to help you. So can anyone be an entrepreneur? Well, potentially you could, but I think there are many people who can't. They really need to be told what to do and fit inside a box and have a schedule and someone to answer to, because being an entrepreneur sounds exciting, but for a lot of people, it's not what it may seem.
Okay. Now you have over 50s. What kind of over 50s are you taking on? The newbie of over 50 or the people who are already in the middle of their business?
Yeah, no. I work with I work with established business owners. So they've been in business 10, 15, 20 years. So they're established. They're different stage of their business. They understand what business is like. So I don't work with new business owners. I find new business owners tend to, not always, but a lot of them like to try their own things out, try to work out how to do things themselves. And because they haven't been in an experienced business long enough, they don't realise the importance of sometimes they just don't realise the importance of getting expert help to help guide them. And they make a lot of mistakes along the way.
Okay. Do you have a mentor at all?
Yeah, absolutely. Always. When I went back into business, first thing I did was made sure I found a coach and I use different people for different things as my business grows. So depending on what my needs are, you'd need someone from the outside looking in.
Okay. What is the most valuable thing your mentor has told you?
Well, there's a lot of things depending on what area, but I think one of the things is if it doesn't feel right. This is what I've learned, not what they've necessarily told me. If it doesn't feel right, I don't do it, because what works for one person doesn't always work for someone else, even in exactly the same business. So I personally, as a coach and mentor, would suggest that you go with if you go with your gut feeling. Sometimes, if it doesn't feel right for you, I wouldn't actually follow it. But overall, having a mentor or a coach, make sure they've got the rungs on the board, because there are a lot of people out there that are willing to take your money, and they don't necessarily deliver what they promise, and they end up confusing the client, and then and a lot of people get disillusioned. But when you find the right person, you really can fast track your success. So it's really important to search out for people. Not everyone, don't listen to everybody. Only have one person at a time to guide you, because otherwise you'll get conflicting advice and you'll get confused, and then in a confused mind just won't do anything. They'll just procrastinate.
Okay, Lorraine. Let's say I am starting, I'm very new. Well, I've been in business for 50 years, but now I want to switch and find a coach. Do you have a list I have to go by to make sure that is the right one? How do we find the right one? Because there are many coaches out there.
Yeah, well, coach is just a general term, isn't it? Like, there's many online marketers out there as well. I think, how do you go about finding? Well, it's about being able to identify what you actually need. I think that's really important. People that you know, you might want to ask around people that you know who they know is a good starting point. And I think you really need to look at, because the word coach is such a big thing. What do you need coaching for? What do you need mentoring for? Make sure you get someone. Is it for marketing? Is it for business coaching? Because they're all different things. There are specialised people for different things. No one person can do everything. Even though I specialise in working with the baby boomer business owners, my specialty is looking at the overall picture of where they're at in their business and life. And then we work out a strategy and a plan to take action. And along the way, sometimes there are things in their business that need addressing that I can't help them with, but then refer them on to someone else, because you can't be good at everything.
Okay. What is the most valuable thing you have ever given away?
What have I given most valuable thing I've ever given away? That's an interesting question. Most valuable thing I've ever given away. I think the fact that my wisdom and knowledge is valuable. Because what I know with my background can literally, it can literally has a massive impact on people's health, on their business, on their relationships, and everything in life in general. Because most people are very, I find they're very disorganized. And my background also as a productivity specialist in time management and personal organisation, if you haven't got that, you can't make decisions, you can't think clearly because you're too clouded. So I really believe the most valuable thing I can give away, if I was giving it away, would be my wisdom and experience.
Let's talk about your book. Tell us how we can use your book to get all the valuable information out of it.
Oh, yeah. Well, my book is called Mind Your Times, 50 Ways to Succeed in Business and Life, and it's like a chicken soup for the soul. It had very short chapters and true stories of clients. on how they've managed to improve their business and life through simple tips and tools. So there's different areas. There's area regarding time management and personal organisation, how to manage your team more effectively. So it's quite broad. And then, so there's simple tips, tools and strategies in there that anyone can apply. And they're all true stories of business owners who've applied them. And, and if you actually do that, because knowledge is no good unless you actually apply it. So I'm always about taking action and applying it.
Okay, there is 50
Does that
ways.
make sense?
Okay, there is 50 ways. Do you mind telling us at least maybe one or two in a briefly?
Yeah, absolutely. I will. I think the first thing is recognize that, number one, that you're the most important asset in your life, and that you need to free up your time to allow time to look after yourself. You need to be fit and healthy. You want to be an entrepreneur, a business owner. There is a lot of pressure and a lot of stress because you are the one. You're the one that makes everything tick. So you need to be fit and healthy. So number one, take care of yourself. Number two, plan your time effectively. Have a schedule. So you know what you're doing each day. Use a diary. Don't keep it all in your head, because you need to be organised so you can actually get things done. Otherwise, you'll never get ahead, and you'll always be chasing your tail. So you need to get yourself organised around that. You need to also, I believe, get help, outsource. You can't do it all. Get help, do what you do best, and outsource the rest. So simple little things like your bookkeeping, it could be website stuff, whatever is not your forte, don't do it. Don't waste your time, your valuable time, on doing the things that you hate doing, because you'll lose your passion. That's really important. And keep up those relationships. Don't get yourself so entrenched in your business that you forget what you're doing it all for, because you want to make sure, if you've got a family, you want to have someone at home at night when you get home. So, but a lot of people get too entrenched in their business to the extent and the exclusion of everything else. So there are stories in there of people, clients that I've worked with in the past, and how they've managed to free up their time so they can really focus on what matters most. Because if you don't do that, no matter what the money is, that people say, oh yeah, money, but it's way above the money that people go into business for. I mean, yes, they want to do that, but they need purpose, and they also want to have a life and provide for the family and do other things. So you've got to focus.
Okay. Where do we find this lovely book so we can start using these 50 ways to improve our business?
Sure. If you go to my website, which is www.relaunchyourlife.com, .com.au, you'll find it there in the shop.
Okay. So, clan, there will be more from Lorraine in a moment. If you are finding Lorraine's journey interesting and you are ready to hear more, come and listen to the full version of the interview at onlinesuccessjourney.com. If you are on Online Success Journey already, click on part 2 of Lorraine's journey and get lots more tips you can use yourself. And don't forget, you can access all other Online Success Journey interviews, podcasts on the site as well. That's a wrap, clan. Remember, success is a journey. Patience and Lorraine.
This is not the end of the journey. We hope you've enjoyed listening to part 1 and want to be sure you know there is a second part to this and every journey podcast at onlinesuccessjourney.com, filled with even more success tips, uplifting stories, and even a bit of fun. There are dozens of episodes only available to the members of the Online Success Journey clan. Check out the website and click on Join the Clan for more information. Patience would like to thank you for listening to this podcast, and she has a free audio gift for you at her website. Go to onlinesuccessjourney.com for instant access to this gift. Of course, you know that listening to the journeys of others helps each of us chart our own path. So make sure you're subscribed to be notified as each new interview is posted. There are so many ways to stay connected to the online success journey and to listen in. And if you're enjoying the podcast, we appreciate your help in telling others. One of the best ways to share the benefit you get is to rate and review it at Stitcher and other sites by clicking the stars or completing the ratings form, by clicking thumbs up and leaving a comment on YouTube, or liking and sharing the podcast on social media. To review the podcast within iTunes, simply open iTunes to the podcast, click on Ratings and Reviews, then write a review. On behalf of Patience, and until next time, thanks once more for listening. It is our hope that this podcast will guide you on your own online success journey.